There you
Welcome
go.
to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Let me tell you, I'm struggling driving today because I need my intro music. Every good hero has to have his theme music. And Sir Rick,
Oh,
being
my
the hero
goodness.
that I am, I gotta have that theme music. Can we get that fixed, Dave?
It'd be more like Darth Vader.
Hey, here we are, though. Listen, we are in Vegas for the TCA, the Truckload
Oh.
Carriers Association annual meeting. Dave, over 1,500 people here, the largest crowd I think ever. I'm going to go out and say ever right here. And Dave, you think BCB Live had something to do with that?
Yeah, they all knew we were going to be here, and let me tell you what, they're lining up right now just to get involved in the online program. But let me tell you, there's a lot of experts here. There's a lot of knowledgeable people here, and everybody here is giving a little bit to this industry to learn about network and make this place a little bit better.
Can I tell you how you know you're a celebrity? When you're handing out room keys, Dave. Room key after room key.
That's not a celebrity, sir. That's something else that's only legal in Nevada.
All
Hey.
right. That is so true. Hey, but listen, what a weekend we have in store for you today. We're on Sunday, Dave. When it's got to be a special day when we're on late Sunday afternoon for you.
Yeah.
We've got drivers coming on here, drivers that have been mentioned for national awards, Driver of the Year.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk to
All finalists.
them.
All
finalists in this
finalists.
thing. And we're going to continue focusing on this. We talked about it last week on the show. And Dave, I do think it's something that we've got to stay focused on, and that is letting these drivers, our drivers, you out there on the road, hey, talk about it, what you do. We've got to get the word out who we are.
And not only that, but bring to light exactly their experience, their knowledge, and their heroism.
Have you ever seen a more humble group than a driver?
Yeah, no. I mean, you talk to them and they're like, oh, yeah, well, that's what I do
Just
every
what I
day.
do.
That's just what I do.
No.
That's the job I do. That's the job I signed up for, and that's the job I do every single day. Let me tell you, the guys that I met, almost as we talked to them, first of all, great group of guys.
Oh,
we talked to
phenomenal.
them, and you know what? They're a bunch of characters, right?
Yes, they are. And they brought their companies with them, too.
Oh, yeah.
Some of these are independent contractors. Some of these are company drivers. Hey, they're just like you out there. They're just like Drive Safe
Oh, and
Dave.
let me
That's
tell
what
you,
they are.
the reason why I think they brought their companies with them, no poaching. They
Yeah.
weren't.
Yeah,
They're like,
and you know what? And it's like these guys they brought, they're like all broad.
yeah, they're
so I
ours.
don't
That's
think
my
they're-
driver. That's my driver. I'm like, dude, that's it. That's the driver.
No eye contact. Quit looking at my driver, Sir Rick. Hey, but no, what we're doing, we're going to tell their story. They're going to be on here live.
Yeah.
Not only that, we have No Cell Technologies coming on. We have the TCA going to join us
Oh,
as
yeah,
well.
what this is all about,
Yes,
talking
this
about
is
what
what
this-
it is. It's important that you know what your association is doing out here for you.
Yeah, and you know what? We're going to continue to grab people as they walk by, see the booth, see us. We've been signing autographs since we got here.
My hand is sore, baby. Sore.
And we've been signing autographs when we got here. And you know what? It's fun when somebody goes, "Drive safe, Dave." They point it out.
Yeah, whatever. Hey, yeah.
From the
Whatever.
photo. Well, mostly from the lunch line.
Yeah, Drive Safe Dave, they're looking for you. No, I get it. Hey, but listen, we're going to come back. We have a lot of stories to go with you today. We're going to, hopefully this one we're doing some first takes too to kind of make sure that we're ready to give you that best production
absolutely.
that you deserve out there on the road. We want you to stay safe. If you're driving right now, Dave, if you're tired right now, listen, pull over. Nothing has changed on that. This company, this station, being the safest station in the nation, Dave, what does that mean to be the safest station in the nation?
Safest station in the nation is basically letting every person out there understand that this comes first. Be safe. This comes first.
It's all about
be safe.
safety, man. It's all about safety. And I'm telling you one more time, you are going to get on here. You're going to start bragging on what you do because you save lives, and people have got to know that. We're coming to you next, right here in Vegas, baby. Whoa, 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 whoa,
Boom.
Vegas,
And I get a
baby.
big badge. I got a
BCB
big
Live, baby. The safest station in the nation, Drive Safe Dave. We are honored, truly honored to have Gene here with us. And we're not going to, and Craig, I know, we can't leave Craig alone.
Gene is the true honor recipient. Craig, it's good you're chauffeuring Gene around. How's that, right?
Yeah, we're having a good time here at TCA.
It's awesome.
So you know what, when you have a driver at the TCA, okay, and we're going to go into why he's here to begin with, you know what? Gene can't let him out of his sight. Craig won't let him out of his sight. He's like,
why would you? Why? There's guys. They're all over here looking. Greg's. When's that dude leaving?
Oh man, but we are here because Gene was nominated one of 3 Independent Operator of the Year award.
That's correct.
Wow, big one, brother. Congrats.
That's huge. First of all, I was an operator. How do you get that award? Because I don't know why they didn't call me.
Because I told lots of stories.
I do. Wait a minute. I've told quite.
I got a feeling that, Dave, that you got to do something right, all right?
Okay.
And you all know that I talked to Craig and Gene about that. So Drive Safe Dave, he was one of our first drivers. And he has done every job that we have, including now a BCB Live thing, because he hasn't been good at any of them.
Yeah, that's
we keep moving him around.
I'm still here. I'm still hanging on. They're trying to find the right spot for me.
Hey, Craig, how did this happen? How did he get even nominated for Independent Operator of the Year?
So Gene was nominated for the Independent Operator of the Year by our safety manager, Scott Groenwaller, there at the office in Grand Island. So, you know, he recognized that, this was a great opportunity to get some recognition in for some drivers that are on the national stage, right? It's a big event, and what better place to try to showcase somebody that's got the kind of qualities and things that Gene Houchin possesses.
100% agree with that.
Now we have Gene, right? The one of 3 independent operators. I'm talking in the country for this award. Gene, what makes you, what's that it factor for you to get this?
That stands behind you no matter what. I mean, we've had good times, bad times, just like everybody else is a normal person will have, you know. And I started driving in '73. We got married in '74. Poor gal's still here, and I'm still in training. You know, she's a super woman, and we've just tried to be ourselves. I was taught by an independent. They took a chance on me. I worked in an elevator. He said, I checked up on you, and you're of age now, and you could actually go ahead and I can get you a driver's.
Wow.
So would you like to drive for me? I knew how to back a truck. I knew how to do it. I played with the elevators. So we went and got my driver's license and come back, and it was all kind of funny because one time, when we started, I made 2 trips to Des Moines. He had a 72 Kenworth with a 4x4 air in it. It's easy. Yeah, I crawled up my ice, says, go practice. And I looked down, it's got 2 sticks. I had to whistle at him, so what do I do with these 2 damn things? So,
Twin stick.
yeah, he kind of told me what to do, and it all went to there. When you got a father and son like them, they were behind us. And I had good teachers, and that's all it takes, the people that surround you.
I want to talk about that for a second, because when it comes to other drivers out there, you know, I do believe this, is that we owe it to them. And I'm saying we, people like yourself that have done it the right way, we've got to continue to train that younger group. What are you seeing right now with that younger group out there driving?
Well, I worry about them some, because there's some, how do you take, it's hard. They want to do these 19, 20-year-olds. 20-year-olds, you still got to get started somewhere, and they haven't really had the experience in their cars. They think, okay, it's a big truck, and I can't say too much because I got a 20-year-old grandson that's out driving a truck right now for a farmer. But he said to Grandpa, he said, I need you to help me learn how to back up a little better. But he's out there trying. It's not an easy job. When I first started, you started sun up and might quit at sundown, or you might quit at sun up the next morning. You never know what's going to happen. We've changed a lot all over all these years, and I've seen a lot of good things, but the kids have to remember that this ain't easy. it's not a PUD job like they think. I just get in and I drive it and I get there and I'm done.
Yeah, and you know what? And then and then you have the period where you're away from the family, away from the kids. Hey, Craig, when it comes to managing that side of the business, I mean, what kind of emphasis do you guys put on to make sure that you're getting the drivers back home, to make sure that you're taking care of their needs, because they're just like us, right? I mean, they got to put their kids through college. They want to pay their bills. They want to pay the groceries. All of these things, there's no different from a driver than it is from us. And Craig, what do you do to make sure that folks like Gene are getting home and all of that?
So, when we started our company, I started it myself, with one truck back in the early 90s. And so when I focused on growing the company, I wanted it to be the way I wanted a truck. I wanted to be home once a week at least, so family was important. Culture is important for the family. And I mean, it's a tough job, I mean, the drivers are out, they're away from home. So it's not a very popular scenario to start with. But we're a regional carrier, so we'll run 700 miles or, give or take from the home front. And so we're able to get our guys back in on a weekly basis.
So. The company?
Midwest Express out of Grand Island, Nebraska.
Probably always looking for a good, safe driver, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your next Gene.
We're looking for the next Gene, you bet. So to get him out in front, of people like, right here,
yes,
to get him in front of the young folks,
Amen, for sure.
That's what we need.
Gene, so as a hero, truly, in this country, what is it about driving that you still love the most? I'm just curious. There's got to be something that you still love about doing it every day.
People.
The people.
People make it all. I mean, you've always got good people, bad people, but you got 95% or better that's really good. I mean, Craig took a jump on me all through a friend. A friend of mine told me he was looking for someone to run for him and stuff like that. Well, this guy, him and I had run a lot miles together back in the early 70s, up through 79, I suppose. We talked together all the time, even for all those years. And then I stopped in and visited I visited. Craig happened to be gone. So poor old Dennis and Doug, his brother-in-law, had to speak up for me, I guess. And they said, are you really? Yeah. He says, when do you want to start? And I said, as soon as my permits expire at the end of the year. And that's when I started for Craig. And that's been over 6 years ago.
Wow, awesome. And if I remember right, you run an automatic truck today.
Automatic
Talk
today.
Talk to me about it, because you know what? We hate automatic. I got a 13 speed. I'm not doing this.
Well, I got a 13 speed. It's just, it does all this brain work for me. I don't have to concentrate anymore.
Okay.
No,
Stay off that clutch.
Well, I had to learn how to do dance steps, because there's no clutch over there to get in the way, so you can move around. No, it's different. I mean, it's supposed to get better fuel mileage, all this and that. I had mine set up with a progressive. That wasn't quite the way I wanted it, so then I had to change to a performance shifting. So it shifts just a little faster. I get over the hills a little earlier, and I got better fuel mileage out of it that way. I still miss the shifting and stuff like that. I mean, I'm 71 years old, and all I know is this. I've worked in dispatch for a little bit when I had a stomach operation, stuff like that. And then, and then this guy right here, him and his wife and safety man, I had to have a neck operation. And who was there that night? These three.
Yeah, that's
Craig, his wife, and them.
So let me ask you a quick question, Craig, and as we talk to Gene, how many of these guys should we really be celebrating this every day? I mean, Gene's a great example, but there are literally tens of thousands we should be celebrating.
Absolutely, we should be celebrating each and every one of our truckers. I mean, you said the word earlier, heroes.
Absolutely.
They're essential workers out here, and they're making sure the shelves are full and that folks are eating, So,
yeah.
Absolutely, we should be celebrating each and every one of them.
Couldn't be said better, I tell you.
No, there's no doubt about it. And one thing we want to make sure that we do, and for you out there, our drivers, listen, it's okay to tell others what it is you do. It's okay to be a hero. It's okay to take that humble card and put it aside for a second, because we've got to hear your stories. You know, there's so many times, guys, we see it on the billboards, on the news. You know, the big truck did this, did this. You want to make an extra paycheck? Call me, the hammer, and I'll make it happen for you. No, y'all are on the road. Y'all avoid so many things. You are the driver. You say it better than anybody. You're a Class A, right?
Yeah, you're the Class A. You're the professionals. You're
Yes.
the NBA players, the NFL
Yes,
players,
the best of the best.
of the best. You don't have a C license. Everybody else out there has an average driver's license. You know, all the drivers out there have an A license. They made an A on the test, and in reality, there's so much more expected of them, so much more demanded of them, so much more that is required of them, and they come through every single day doing the things that need to be done. And I'm telling you, we've talked long enough about humility. We've talked long enough about how bad this industry is. It's about time we see the great things that drivers
Thank
do.
you.
We talk
For
about
sure.
the great things that drivers do, and we celebrate Gene and what he does and why he's a nominee for the Contractor of the Year. Well deserved. Well deserved. Congratulations,
for sure.
Gene.
Hey, Gene, we want to thank you for that, for sure.
I only got one other thing to say. You know, it's really good. I was going to quit one time, and I went in for an interview. And one of the questions was, well, you drive a truck, Gene. He says, how are you going to handle being, everybody looking out over your shoulder to make sure, how can you do that? I sat there a second, and I said, well, I got not only the company watching what I'm doing, I got our safety men, I got the highway patrol, I got the DOT, I got all the people out here in the United States watching. I got
Jenny brought your wife.
Yeah, you brought your wife into the mix.
and I got the chauffeur in that. And, that poor lady, she beats me over the back all the time there, and she says, I'm going to keep you straight, but it's a wooden spoon on the head.
Bam! Wake up call. I'll tell you
No.
what, we're out here at the TSA. We've got a lot of people to meet, bunch of people to bring in here, talk about, mention, and do stuff like here with Gene. Gene, thank you so much for coming in here. Craig, thanks for bringing him up here and nominating me.
I appreciate what you do,
Thank
man.
you.
Fantastic, man. I
Been a lot
appreciate
of
it.
This
fun.
is a hero right here, folks. This is what heroes look like. Hey, we'll be right back with more BCB Live. You got to say the safest station in the nation.
Safest station in the nation.
Bam! All right, welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Hey, we're keeping the show rolling right now. Now we have Optimal Dynamics, OD. You down with ODD?
I'm with ODD. Yeah.
All right, so here we go, Drive Safe Dave. Do the introduction real quick to everybody.
All right, so this is Optimal Dynamics. Let me just tell you a little bit about these two players out here. They're going to tell you a little bit about what it means to have an operating system manage what?
So we're going to automate decisions.
Automate decisions.
Well, hold on a second. That's a lot. We're going to go in there. We're going to optimize these computers, and I'm going to tell you, all right. All the decisions that go on in a day, whether it's 5 trucks, 10 trucks, 1,000 trucks, it's crazy. I mean, how do you make the right decision? And I'm saying, you know what? If
best planner ever.
If you're a trucker, if you're out there, you're a trucking company, you're saying, oh, I know how to do it. No, you don't.
No, you really don't. Let me tell you, best planner ever. And I'll tell you, and then all of a sudden you got another planner. Then you got another planner comes along, got his own plan, right? Got his own plan. Look, and I'm going to tell you what I think it is like. So I played a lot of chess, right? I played a lot of chess, and you try to think ahead, and then you get to you play a computer, and it whips you bad because it thinks all of the possible moves way ahead of you, way faster, way better than you ever could. And I think that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about making strategic moves way better than a human could ever do it in a short amount of time, and it changes dramatically minute to minute, right?
Yeah, I think if you think about even a small carrier operation, and you look at load level decisions, and you scale that up every day, a human has a hard time understanding, hey, well, what is the incremental impact of this load 2 days from now on the network? And how is that going to impact this driver 2 days from now? And how is that going to impact their whole tour? And really, it's a math problem. And OD has really stepped in and solved the easy math that can be done by computers. Computers are very bad at solving human problems, right? There's a lot of human problems out there that load planners and customer service managers that really need to engage with the driver as well as the shipper and the carrier itself. But the actual easy math problems of understanding, hey, what does this load mean 2 days from now, and how is that going to help that driver's tour, make it easier for them to get back? That's a math problem. And that's where OD comes in.
That's great.
And with a network, right, it's 1,000 games of chess, or however many trucks you have. Every truck is a game of chess, and we're predicting what's going to happen with that truck 2 days out, 5 days out, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks out.
So I hear things when we talk about the, OD, artificial intelligence, whatever, learning software. Does the software really learn? I mean, is it learning on what a trucking company does?
So we're certainly learning from what's happened over time with the network, and that learning means, okay, when are loads going to pop up in your network? Where's the freight going to show up a week from now, 2 weeks from now? And then
better predictability.
When you see a distribution, you don't always have the same transit time, right? So we learn what that distribution is. So when I make a decision, I don't say the transit time has to be perfect. I actually look and see if it's 8 to 12 hours. I'll simulate that load over that whole distribution and say, you know what, it's going to work, whether it's 8 or whether it's 12. So we can do that learning based on the history that you have in your network.
Wow, that's amazing. And so the software, so now I'm a trucking company, and I'm talking to the 50 truckers, the 10, whatever you are, the 3,000 truck. How is this software, how does your software take a driver, take a company, and try to make the best decision for both of them? Because that trucking company has to make money, right? And that driver's got to get home. Can you create the software that is OD looking at that whole thing and making the best decision that's going to get the driver home and make the company the most money possible?
100%. So whenever we're looking at any decision with a driver, we're trying to maximize that driver's satisfaction with their work. So whether that be from a mileage in the week standpoint, what they're going to get paid, but more and more the question is, when do I get home, right? And how frequently can I get home? So every customer says, can you show me how to set up my network so that I get my drivers home more frequently? So we can actually solve to say, where should drivers be in the network? What loads should we take? Should we accept and put on those drivers to make sure they get home? What relay points should we use to make sure they can turn around and get home and send that load on its way, so that one, they're getting more out of their truck and they're getting more out of their time and getting home more.
And here we are at BCB Live, we focus on safety, and you're already speaking safety when you're talking about the driver's reaction to what's going on here Now we have an opportunity, not only the dispatcher and the driver and everybody involved understand that we're making the best decision possible to get the driver home, and that pressure is lifted off of the driver knowing that the best software is out there changing the way they do their business every day.
Yeah, I mean, the revenue that is being generated by the solution is being driven by driver satisfaction, right? It's our ability to look into a predictive future, simulate that future, and really all the way down to the driver level to ensure that that driver has their miles, is operating where they want to be operating. So we have the ability to tune those parameters that if a driver wants to operate in a certain area, we can ensure that the optimization takes all of that granularity into the optimization and make it executable.
Wow, so OD, you can take that data, you can make sure that you, the company, are making the most money while keeping that driver satisfied, right? Getting them back home for that important date that they have. It's taking it and kind of giving it that balance that every trucking company needs to have. But it can do so much more, because you bring up something in here, as we as a trucking industry, we search, right, for more drivers in our industry. That means that, you know, the biggest thing right now, you're not going to find 23, 28 people coming out that want to stay on the road for a month. They want to stay on the road for a day, for 2 days, 3 days tops. Maybe it's just a day. We can take those driver profiles, put them in this, and it can tell you, hey, this is the freight they need to run to take care of them. And meanwhile, it's still taking care of everybody else's needs as well. Is that right?
Right. So you'll see exactly which customers are impacted by changing your network to get a driver home every day. So that might mean we need more drivers in an area, or we need to add more relay points, or we can say, hey, are there other parts of power to your network that you might want to add? Another fleet, owner-operators, other types of ways to service those customers.
It sounds to me like, and as we talk about it, we mention on this show a great deal. We talk about it, productivity. You're actually maximizing productivity, and that driver shortage that we're talking about could be less if we're more productive with what we already have, and you guys are solving those same problems as well, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Wow.
And you may attract more drivers, right, if you're getting them home every day.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah,
So
reduce your turnover, right, as well.
Retention.
So imagine this. Bring in the right drivers, more drivers that can run a certain lane. Reduce your turnover. Reduce reduce the days that you've had accidents, right? Reducing that number by having drivers, because I think when you have this predictability on the freight side, it's really giving the drivers that same predictability, where I know that I'm going to get back home for that game, because the computer and the system and the it already knows that I got to be home in 6 days, so it's not going to send me to a location that it's impossible for me to get back home, because it knows I got to have a game in 6 days. And the beauty of what you all do, and this is the part that listen, you can't do this. You have to have a system do this, because it's looking at the entire network on freight that's going back to that person's home, that it may say, hey, drop it here. It doesn't deliver till Monday anyway. And we as humans can't see that for 3 or 4 more days.
And I'll tell you, as a former planner or whatever, I thought I was a great one. Thought I was a good one, but I'll tell you what is exciting to me is, you know, you go down and you plan all these, and then you get to like 3 or 4 and you're working on these. When something changes in the system, it reshovels the whole deck, right?
Yeah.
And goes back and makes better decisions all the time.
Yeah, so pretty much every 60 seconds the solution is re-optimizing. And I think that's a huge help for when we're looking at a predictive future.
Wow.
You know, it's not so fragile that if one thing changes, everything falls apart. We all understand and remember the optimization days of the 90s, where optimization took three hours to a day to run. OD is consistently looking at, hey, what happens if the driver rejects the load? What happens if this load goes away, or didn't show up 2 days from now when we predicted it to?
Is it measuring? Are you able to only do company fleets, or can you do a fleet that has company and owner operators?
Both owner operators. You could even have external power, like you might have a dedicated carrier that's helping you. You might have a spot market option, a spot brokerage option. So all of those options can be considered. You could also have the ability to, check and see what other load opportunities might be available if you wanted to connect your load board in to fill gaps in your network.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So what about the companies? So now we have the companies that have owner operators, company drivers, and now they broker out. Can it help them decide which freight may need to be brokered and which freight needs to be trucked?
Absolutely, Andrew. Yeah. You can
Yeah,
take
so
it.
we're constantly, when we get that load in, we're looking to see, does it fit best on your assets, your drivers, your owner-operators, or does it work better profitably on your brokerage?
Wow.
And so if there's a value to the fleet, we're going to put it on the fleet, but if there's more profit on the brokerage side, we would look to put that to the brokerage side.
Wow, and you know this, right? For the owner, for the companies out there, that the quicker you can get a load out there on the load board, on the brokerage side, the more margin you make on the load as well. That's phenomenal. Safety in trucking, I know we talk about it with getting the drivers home. Dave, I'm going to ask you to kind of hop in here and help me out. What do you hear from this software? What are other things that you think that are creating a safe driver out there, just from what you've heard today?
Well, not only a peace of mind knowing that some of the best decisions are being made on what you're doing every day and what you're doing. You got to have a peace of mind and a trust in this, knowing that this company's doing everything that it can to either get me home or get me to where I need to be, and I don't have to stress out about it, right? Also, I liked about it what you said we're going to put a load on a driver and make them successful on it. Not one they have to rush, not one that they have to hurry on, not one that they have to worry about being late. You've already kind of figured in the stuff, and you know what? This load, this driver's going to be successful on, right? And I think that's important for drivers to know, because they don't want a load that they get constantly that says, you get it and you're like, crap, I'm already late.
Yep.
You know, and how stressful is that?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think to that point, you know, the strategic simulation aspect of what OD does is that it allows you to look at customer bids that are coming in and simulate that volume in the network. So, okay, well, if we win this business, how does it affect our current service levels? How does it affect our current network on the asset side? How does it displace our current network? And I think that's a very, very powerful tool to be able to use when you're actually negotiating with a shipper partner on what lanes really make sense for the carrier to win. Because we all know a lot of carriers are look at a bid, they'll get a big award and they'll say, hey, we can take all this freight. Yeah. When in reality, they're stretching themselves to do that. With OD, you're able to simulate that volume in the network, understand what piece of that volume really makes sense for you guys, and drive hard for it. And I think that reinforces to your driver partners that, hey, you guys are going out to win business that really makes sense for them.
Does part of the system have like a red flashing light, so when something actually goes wrong, emergency?
Warning, Will Robinson.
Yeah, does it have any of that action going on inside the system? Like, this is never going to work, but this is the best option we have.
Well, yeah. So there's reality, right? So there's what the solution would recommend, then there's reality that happens, and you have to react to it. You know, the power of simulation, though, is that when you accept a load, let's call it on Monday for a Friday pickup, we're continuously monitoring ELD integrations, visibility integrations.
Oh, nice.
To understand what happens throughout the course of time after you accepted that load.
Because it happens.
Yeah. So we're averting the 11 p.m. call saying, hey, I'm not going to be able to make the window, right? So on Wednesday, we actually send the alert to the load planner and say, hey, there's a 75% chance that this load is going to fail as it's planned. You may want to do something about it.
Yeah, and you always see how well that load fits your network, right? It could be a 0%, but you have a rule that says, I have to take this load for this guy on assets, right? And then you also know that when you talk about safety of a driver, we've not just made a decision that says in a perfect world this driver could take this load. We've simulated a very imperfect world many, many times to say, hey, 95% of the time, no matter what happens, it's going to work for him safely.
Wow.
So
That's amazing. Hey, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to reach out to OD?
Yeah, you can reach us at optimaldynamics.com, and that's the best starting point. You can understand kind of who we are, what we do, but that's the best way to reach us.
Right.
I would also suggest, if you're here at the TSA, stop over by their amazing booth they got over there.
Yeah,
it looks like
absolutely.
Hey,
something
it's the TCA. You said TSA twice. Now.
TCA.
You're not at the airport.
TCA. Stop over by their booth. It's like something out of a science fiction movie they got going over there. You'll talk to people over there at your booth too.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're the high rise.
Yeah,
they're at the high rise.
that's the future right there.
Hey, listen, first of all, thank you for joining us on our
Rick.
show.
Thank you.
It's important that we continue to share the technology in trucking. You know what? We can't be afraid of technology in what we do. This business has pushed to a technology business.
Oh, absolutely.
People just can't do everything anymore. You've got to go out and look in the future. You have to learn, and that's where what you do comes into play. Everybody, this is BCB Live. Thank you all so much for being on the show. We're the safest station in the nation, and we're coming back to you in 60 seconds or more.